good look, Tom. Because one of us isn't going to be here for long.
One last deal to be done.
Tommy!
Then we Peaky Blinders rest.
Anthony Byrne has spoken about the potential spin-off following the show, which Stephen Knight's obviously spoke about extensively as well. I think he recently said might focus on some younger Peakies that kind of go down to London to take over. Obviously, I'm sure it's all in the future, but is that something you'd want to see Finn be a part of? Because he's kind of grown up through this series, had more and more to do as it's gone on. If that opportunity was there for a spin-off that somehow involved Finn, would you be up for that, kind of leading some younger Peakies down to London?
Yeah, man. Like it all sounds very epic, and it would be nice to I guess step into a new role. Finn stepping into a new role is what I mean. But I gotta say, man, it's just like I sort of said this in one of the other ones, but like not to say it like that, but the love that I've had for Peaky and what it's given me, what it's taught me, I just, with all due respect, I can't wait to channel and start a new avenue in my acting. I want to try and do stuff that's completely opposite to Peaky, and just for practical reasons, as an actor, you don't want to pigeonhole yourself. I don't want to be doing Peaky till my mid to late 20s, just because I reckon in the future that will be a hindrance for me. But like I said, the still inside me though, I would love to continue that story. But I think it is finishing at a nice point. And I think, yes, it could they very much show the younger guys could take over, and we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what my co-stars say. We'll see what the lads say. But I'm keen to do it, but there's also I don't want to tarnish the lovely painting that has been painted by like Cillian and the older gents, and Stephen himself. And I know obviously he would continue to write it, but I just think they've done such a great job at building a world. I would hate for it to come out with some like half quality sequel, not on their side, but potentially on my side. Not that I'm doubting myself, but I just don't want to step on anyone's toes, even though it would be a lot of fun. But I think, I'll just keep it at that. I, with all due respect, I can't wait to move on.
I don't know. I think who knows what's going on? Actors are genuinely always the last people to know, because they accidentally end up telling everyone. So no one tells us anything. I love being part of this world, and I'm really proud to be part of the Peaky Blinders world. And that's why I've stayed with the show the whole time. I really love playing Ada, and I really love this world that we're in. And as for life after it, who knows? I think it's just something to explore as and when it comes up. But it feels really. Whatever happens after it, this feels like this is the show. This is, how we've ended here is the box set. This is the legacy. This is the Peaky Blinders TV series in its original form. And so I'm really proud to have seen it through, and to sort of have that there and have Ada's journey there, and whatever happens next, we'll see.
I know you've spoken recently about, the series coming to an end, and also this kind of being described as the end of the beginning. And I know originally you kind of wanted to structure this between the two wars.
Yeah.
And that's kind of started to change now. I wonder if you could talk specifically about what you kind of meant by the end of the beginning and what that means.
Well, we're going to make a film, a feature film, which will move the world on. And then once we've moved the world on into the Second World War, we'll see where that takes us. And it's now a situation where the world, around the world, the Peaky world it's got so much energy, so much following, and such a huge fan base that you think, well, let's just carry on. So we did.
For sure. So do you envisage that kind of Tommy and Arthur would still be part of that world, or do you kind of see the team?
It's impossible to say yet, but the film, yes. The film.
Okay. All right, that's good. So you do envisage them being part of the film at least. Tom Holland, of all people, recently said that he auditioned for Peaky Blinders and didn't get the role. I wondered, do you think he would have been a good option for Peaky? And has there been anyone else you've sort of seen you'd be like, oh, I'd love to see them appear one day?
Yeah, there's been a few people. I mean, like last year, I think. Last premiere, I think I mentioned like Ezra Miller. I just find him fascinating. But even I'm not sure if they're necessarily fit, but just actors that I'd perhaps love to work with, or just would find it interesting to see what they would do. Is like, I don't know, even fucking like Joaquin Phoenix and Robert Pattinson. And let's say if Tom Holland was to be on it, I should imagine he probably went up for the role of Michael. They kind of look similar, him and Finn Cole. So I was very interested because him being obviously a hugely successful actor and a solid actor at that, he must have gone up for a main role. Because I don't know how long ago he went audition. It could have been a recent thing, so he could have come on as a villain or something. You never know. Well, a villain. We're villains, but anti-heroes. I don't know what to call this. Ruffians. But it would have been quite interesting actually to see. I think the people that they've chosen, the casting's always been very good. If I do say so myself, not that I had any role in it, but the fact that I was given, can't complain.
Yeah.
Recasting Finn from season 1 to season 2. So, I don't know. There's not really I think there's a comedic aspect to Peaky, but I don't think there was any space for necessarily any comedic type actors. It's very serious and very gritty, and I don't know. Who knows? It could have gone in a direction.
I don't know. I think we did pretty well, didn't we?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, there's some big names in there.
Good people, yeah. I don't know. I mean, it is lovely when you hear who enjoys the show and you go, they watch it, really? That's crazy. So I don't know. I wouldn't like to do disservice to the people that we did have, but it is the thrill when you find out, and it's always Steve, because Steve knows everybody, and if you see him at a screening or something, he goes, oh, so-and-so watches this, and you're like, do they? Can they be in it? Can I have a scene with them, please?
I know Stephen Graham has finally joined the cast, and I think I spoke to you 3 years ago, and that was something you were really hoping to happen one day, and it's great to see that come to fruition. So we've seen teaser clips of him. We know, I think he's based in Liverpool. I can hear a bit of a Scouse accent there. Yeah. Is there anything you can kind of tease for his arc during this season?
I've always wanted him to be in it, and a character was starting to develop in the Liverpool docks, and you just think, well, there can be nobody else for this character. So it's somebody who comes up against Tommy, who isn't an enemy, really.
Great to chat to you again. First off, the obvious one, what was your favourite moment from making season 6?
I think there were many favourite moments. There was a favourite moment that I guess the reasons why I like it so much I can't speak about, but I guess I can speak about it in a sense of seeing an emotional side to Finn that we perhaps haven't seen before. Usually it's quite a physical reaction, whereas I got to play a few scenes that were more of like an emotional reaction, which naturally as an actor you get to sink your teeth into more and sort of explore that with the character, which is always nice to just extend that journey. And yeah, it's always nice, there's a lot of violence, and there's a lot of quarrels, and there's a lot of mistrusts and misdirections and blah 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 and all of that. And I think just Finn being his own person now, becoming his own man, and less so just following orders all the time, even though there are still orders to be followed. There's just freedom given now, and more trust, I guess, because he's not a kid. So there's been quite a few favourite moments, but there's just one particular moment so I can't give the details too, but yes, his relationship with friends and family.
I mean, there's one that I don't think I can say because I can't remember where it comes and whether it's in the first episode or not. But there was a scene that I'm really proud of, and it was one of the first scenes back, and I was so nervous. But I got to be really cool. I got to do some real Shelby cool acting, and it was really fun, and I'm really proud of myself, and I can't wait to show my son when he grows up and be like, you were in the trailer when I was filming that. And any of those great Peaky Blinders moments, which Steve does so well, and he puts in, and I think the audiences love them and the actors love them as well. When you go, I know that they're going to shoot this and it's going to look amazing and the music's going to be really fucking cool. It's those scenes are the most fun to do when it's like Peaky's at its core and its sort of true essence. So there's a couple of them which they were really fun.
For sure. Are you able to say which characters you were crossing paths with when you were filming those cool scenes?
No, I don't. I want to be the one that gets in trouble. I won't say anything, but there's a couple of cool Shelby moments that I feel like can go in the lookbook.
Great stuff. Have there been any plots throughout the course of the show that you've worked on that you really, really liked, but maybe didn't make it to screen for any reason at all?
I think I really enjoy all the moments. I can't remember what makes it and what doesn't, because I don't sit and watch it with everyone. I just feel mortified that it's me, so I sort of watch it through my fingers later on. But I've really enjoyed. There's certain things that always stick out in my memory. Like there's a scene, really, I think it's like series 2, and Ada's working in a library and she's really trying to reject who she is, and Tommy comes to her and he's got this line and he says, he sort of looks around and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And he says, "Ada, you used to shoot rats with guns." And I just love it. I think about it every time I go back to work on that show, that there's this world that Steve creates and he just peppers these little lines in, and whether anybody else would remember that or not, I don't know, but it always really stuck with me. You know, she is that kid that I loved doing that scene in the cinema in series 1 where she says, you know, I'm a Shelby too, put my fucking film back on, and they're the scenes that they're the scenes that stay with you, that you really enjoy. Those sort of big, mad Shelby moments. So I don't know, yeah.
Not things we've shot, no. We can't afford to shoot things we don't use. It's more, there's so many things I want to deal with, but you know, you deal with it in Peaky or you deal with it somewhere else, but so many themes that Peaky invites in. So many topics that it invites in, and you can only deal with so many. But no, I mean, I'm happy with what we've covered and what we are going to cover.
Given that it's the kind of final season, I wondered, is there any particular anecdotes from producing this series, or any like fun moments or bits you were really particularly proud of across this series that you can kind of allude to?
It's difficult. I mean, in terms of the production, you know, you'd need to speak to the crew and people in the actual filming of the thing. There's been so many ups and downs and highs, and especially in Series 6 because of the pandemic and so many challenges. And the one thing I would say on that point is the crew that we've had, some of them from the first series have stuck with us and have been so loyal, and have gone above and beyond, because this series looks much more expensive than it is. And that's partly a consequence of the extra effort that people in the crew make and their genius. And so it always looks as if it costs as much as some of the things that are also out there. So I think, you know, in terms of what do you take away from the making of this, it's the people who've been involved from the beginning.
Is there anyone you got to play opposite this time around that you really particularly enjoyed, perhaps in that moment? Or were you back with Emmett J. Scanlon again, or was it kind of...
I've always got to say, filming with Emmett is it's always such a pleasure. On screen and off screen, he's just a solid guy. Honestly, so filming with him was just a pleasure, and the journey our characters go on was interesting, to use a non-word. But yeah, no, I did find it interesting to read and to act out, and it's nice. It's a friendship. I say so. He probably just thinks I'm some kid. But yeah, there's a few new. You know, there's Daryl. I mean, obviously, it's always fun to film with everybody again, just all individuals. But naturally, you film with others a lot more than you film with some more than others. And filming with Daryl McCormack and Conrad, who's new to this season. But yeah, a lot of scenes with Emmett, and just what a pleasure that is.
Obviously, you already mentioned as well, congratulations on the baby boy that you had last year. Brilliant news. I wondered, sort of following on from what you said, how much did that affect you filming of the show? Was it like, did it limit how much you were able to be involved, or did you have to do a lot of camera trickery to hide your bump and stuff? Like, how did that play out?
The last year has been a lesson in camera trickery and what you can do. It was, I had to do all my stuff together basically. So it was a really strange, intense period. I think everybody was sick of me because I was there all day, every day. And he was very little when I went back to work. So I think he was 4 weeks old. So it was slightly chaotic and I don't really remember a lot about it. And everyone was very, very nice to me and very understanding. But yeah, it was very exposing coming back and having just had a baby. But I really wanted to because I really loved this show and I really loved being part of it. It's been 10 years and it felt really important to come back and to do it and to finish it off. And it was amazing, actually. It was an amazing thing. When I first started, it was, series 1, it was one of my first jobs that I'd ever done and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just a kid straight out of drama school. And then to come back and do the final series and be a mum and have my newborn son there, and it was amazing. And I think it was kind of amazing for all of us to sit back and reflect on where we were, and all the losses that we'd had and the babies. And so it was a crazy time, but it was very intense, but we got it all. But I look very tired of it.
Bless you. You've spoken a fair bit about kind of passing the baton, and kind of similar to the last question, really. You kind of spoke about passing the baton for these follow-ups rather than kind of spin-offs. I wondered is there anyone that you would like to work with kind of in these various iterations of Peaky, kind of beyond the show?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, there's so many people that, so many great actors that we are already sort of in conversation with for the film and for whatever follows. But I think what we want to do is keep surprising people and keep breaking new talent, because it's all out there, and there is a sort of consistency that what we're doing is finding really good actors from a working class sort of background and telling that story. That's what we're trying to do.
Do you feel that there's kind of an overarching message you'd want someone and fans to kind of take away from the Peaky Blinders story, or would love to take away, or you'd love them to take away from the show at least?
Well, I hope that English people will take, or British people will take the idea that their story, their backyard story, is as big and as glamorous and as dramatic as a Western or a gangster film. There's nothing small about it just because it's Rotherham or Birmingham or whatever. It's as big as anything else. So people all have their big stories. And the big question of the series always is, can someone or a family like the Shelbys ever escape from where they're from in England? Is it possible? So that's the big question of the whole series.